Welcome to the show. This is the Agave Social Club podcast. I'm your host, Doug Price. My guest today is legendary rock and roll Hall of Famer, the OG of celebrity tequila, the Red Rocker himself, Mr. Sammy Hagar. Sammy, it's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you, Doug. At your service here.
Sammy, for anyone who doesn't fully know the impact that you've made on the tequila industry, back around 1996, you launched Cabo Wabo Tequila. This started out as the house brand for your very successful Cabo Wabo cantinas, and by the time you start your exit of the brand around 2007, it was the number 2 selling premium tequila brand in the U.S. The old lighthouse bottles, older bottles, even today are still very sought after. People are looking for those great bottles. You eventually sell the entire brand. And then in 2011, you launched Sammy's Beach Bar Rum coming out of Hawaii. And then around 2017, you get back into the tequila business with Santo Fino and your Mezquila. What was it that made you want to get back into the industry?
Well, because I'm an idea person, and when I have an idea, that's when I get going. I don't sit around and try to think of things to do. All these crazy things. Inspiration is a strange thing. It comes to you. So I'm sitting there one day and I'm thinking, geez, I really miss promoting, the tequila thing because, I'm making this rum now. But my favorite thing is tequila. That's my favorite spirit. Rum's my second. And I'm a nut about going down to, and going into the agave fields and seeing the way it's made. It's the most romantic spirit there is. I mean, I don't care vodka and all that. They just pour grain into something. I mean, this stuff grows on the planet, and it's these gorgeous plants and the way they harvest it, the whole process. I really got, honestly, I got homesick for it. I was saying, man, I want to go back down there and just, do this. So first thing was, I don't want to compete with myself. Campari did a great thing for me. So I thought, well, I'll make mezcal. Everyone loves mezcal. So I went to Oaxaca first, and I got back into the whole thing about making mezcal. And I'm drinking all these different mezcals. And the more special they were, the more high end they were, the more, sought after they were. Worse to me. It's like they just, I'm just not a mezcal guy. So I backed off and said, wow, what can I do? So I was talking to one of my Mexican friends down there in locally. He said, well, maybe you should try to make a hybrid. And so that's how Mezquila came to be. I said, oh, maybe we'll mix, but mixing mezcal and tequila together in a shaker and pouring it out, it's oil and water. It will not blend. So I went to my distiller, Juan Eduardo, who original Cabo Wabo guy in the old blue bottles. And I said, how can we do this? He said, you can't do it. I said, well, then I came up with the name of Mezquila. I said, let's make Mezquila. He goes, that's an interesting concept. So that's how I got back into it. I just kind of was going down and goofing off with my friends down there and going around tasting things. And pretty soon I came up with a hybrid. And then when Guy Fieri came in, oh, no, we got to make Blanco. We got to make Reposado. We got to do it again, brother. You did it once. I want to, guys, like if you get around him for 5 minutes, you're going to be doing something that you've probably never done before. He's a fire plug, man. I mean, he's a spark plug. He just, he's full of energy. So anyway, that's how I got back into it. I wasn't really thinking about it, wasn't really trying, but the light kept coming on. And then I was really happy with Mezquila. I thought, gee, I can drink this. And it makes a great smoky margarita. So.
No, you said Guy Fieri's a part of this. You guys, it seems like really have a great authentic friendship. I heard a story that back before he was America's favorite chef, he was, working in his restaurants, and there was a promo back in the day. Whoever sold the most Cabo Wabo would get, I think, a signed guitar by you and a meet and greet. And he was such a fan of yours that he said, no one's going to beat me. I'm going to do this. And sure enough, he won that competition, and he got a chance to meet you. Is that a true story? And two, is that how that friendship started over the years? Because it really has evolved into a really great friendship as you've brought him in to this brand.
Oh yeah, and it's exactly how it happened. He's a go-getter. If he says I'm going to do something, he's going to do it. So he took a high-end tequila and put it in as well. I mean, the stupidest bar move on the planet, right?
He said, I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it.
He had a $9 per liter well drink, I'm sure, and he put a $37 bottle of a 750, no less, not even a liter, in as well, and selling it for the same price. So he won the contest. But back when you said how I had the number 2 premium tequila in the world, well, that was pretty easy back then because there was only me and Patron. Don Julio hadn't even come to America yet. I mean, it was really, it was really mixtos. There was Herradura with pretty good stuff, and of course, and Cuevo and Sauza and some really low end stuff. But the main thing that if I did anything, it was I came in early because I tasted 100% agave and it blew my mind. I was one of those guys that said somebody say, "Oh man, here, try this tequila." I'd say, "Oh no, no, my tequila days are over. I've spent too many days, sick on, overdoing it because it's such a fun, festive thing, agave spirits. I mean, the lime and the salt and all that. I still love that ritual. I mean, I don't do it because you don't need to. Before I drink any tequila, I have a little taste of salt because you've been chewing spearmint gum or something, you can't get a good flavor out of the tequila. So you need that salt thing. It just really happens. But then you don't want to do that all night, man. You'll end up, parched. But yeah, so guy come in, he won the contest. He met me backstage. I'm looking at him. I'm walking through the door and I'm going, "Whoa, this dude looks just like me, man. He's got my shades on. He's got the blonde bleached hair, And I gave him the guitar. We took some photos, and then I went on stage. And when I came off stage, he went back to his restaurant and he made a bunch of sushi at I think the place was Johnny Garlic's, and he made this sushi and he put it on the back of the guitar. And when I came walking off stage, he walks in my dressing room and hands me, and we ate sushi off the guitar. Now that I said, this is my kind of guy, and we stayed friends forever.
I'm sure, having someone with his energy and his palate has been a huge advantage for, food pairings with the tequila and for cocktail recipes. Cause this guy is the real deal in the kitchen.
Yeah, Doug. And as you know, every spirit or wine and everything, food, it's all about your personal preference and your palate. And so when I started Cabo Wabo, I had such a hard time people believing that it was really high end, that it was really great tequila. And because I happen to have a good palate, I've been collecting wine since the late '60s, early '70s. I have an unbelievable wine collection. So anyway, I've got a good palate, and all my chef friends know this. So having another guy like Guy Fieri with a palate say, "Oh no, he's a chef. He knows, he's got a palate. He knows what he's talking about," helps verify it. Just really validate my love for fine things. And our tequila, I think, is the best. It starts with the best Blanco that I can possibly make. For my palate, I'm saying, there it is, And it's just really about trimming the agave a little tighter and using riper agaves. Nowadays, people are using freaking basketball size agaves, man. It's really about just doing things right. And Guy verifies it. Like every time I go, "Oh, this is it, guys. Oh, brother, yeah, boom, high five, brother, high five, Arnejo," which is right here. Like I said, I'm about to taste this for the first time. This tonight, I have to make a little video telling Guy what I think. I mean, it's going in the bottles, but we agreed on it. It was like I had a partner. It was like before I'm sitting there trying to convince my distributors and my other people that involved. It's right to go, "Oh, well, let's get somebody professional to taste it and find out." So now I've got a professional guy. So Guy helps cut through a lot of bullshit for me. I just go, "Guy and I think it's right." Everybody goes, "Okay, it's right."
Yeah. Yeah, he'll keep you honest. Sammy, the tequila landscape very different from 1996 for right now. Santo Fino, when that was in development, was it a natural, easy transition getting back into it, or did you have to pivot and as you look at the current industry to say, "Hey, this is different"? When you were one of the first getting in there for what it is today, or was it just a natural, easy fit and you just said, "Hey, I'm just like riding a bike"?
Well, yeah, for me, I didn't pay attention to what was really going on. It's not the reason I got back in the business. I got back in the business because it's fun. I love it. When I see my tequila on a back bar or see it in a liquor store, that's the same feeling I get and I got when I was in Montrose or in Van Halen or any bands. When I turn on a radio in a car and I hear my song on the radio, I say, "Oh, holy shit." You can't imagine how good that feels. Well, it feels the same way when I see my booze on a back bar like yours back there, right there. It was real easy to get back in. I got in for those reasons, and it wasn't because it was growing. I'm actually disappointed that it got so big because it's more fun when it's really, really special, But at the same time, I just went back in straight from the heart, straight from my palate. But it was really hard making mezquila. I got to tell you, people don't realize that mezcal and tequila do not blend that well. So, like I said, it took us a year to get it right. I kept saying, well, let's try 70-30 or 49-51. I mean, we tried to do so many different blends of what the balance to get it, and it never was right by just mixing it in a barrel and put it in a bottle and say, how about this? So one day, Juan Eduardo, the distillers, came and said, try this. He goes, he said he went to his workers, everyone in his farm and his ranch, the farmers and everyone. And he said, okay, he thought he came up with an idea and his secret. And he said, try this. And one guy said, this is not tequila. This is not mezcal. This is mezquila, because it blended. And he just did a special process of aeration and little things that I guess is kind of a secret. I don't want to play that game, like I said, but I think he just distilled them one more time together. Instead of just trying to pour the two together, you put them in and you distill them again, and another filtration and then aeration that made it one, that brought it together. It's a higher spirit. Mezquila it's a higher spirit. And I think that was the hardest thing to do, but it was the most rewarding. When I got that and I had people tasting it, and they go, oh, this tastes like, this kind of tastes like old fashioned tequila. I said, yeah. In the old days, they wood burned everything, you know what I mean? And before they got a little more sophisticated with the way they make it. So I'm really proud of that. But Guy Fieri, what he came in and said, he loves it, the mezquila. He drinks it more than I do. Him and Michael Anthony are mezquila nuts. But he just said, we got to make a Blanco. And I said, well, he said, how are we going to make a Blanco? I said, we already got a Blanco. The Blanco that went into this mezquila, I tasted that first and said, this is the best Blanco I've ever had in my life. And then that's, how you start. You got to start with a Blanco. To me, that's it. If you can't, if people taste your Blanco and don't like it, they're probably not going to like the Reposado or the Añejo. And I would say my Blanco's, for me, the best. And, it's got enough sweetness. It's refined. It's not over distilled. It's got enough agave, but it has enough earthiness and enough it's got that vegetation kind of thing. It's not too high in the highlands. It's right mid level on the mountain. It's everything about it is just right. And we trim that green crap off, as much of it as possible, so it gets to the heart. It's like eating the heart of a watermelon. You don't eat the watermelon outside the seeds. You know what I mean? You cut a watermelon in half. You see that little seed line? You go right there in the middle, eat that part. It's the best part. That's what we make the tequila out of.
Tequila is so hot. This. This has been, a big part of your life. Sammy, it is undeniable that you laid the foundation for quote unquote celebrity tequila. And this is not an opportunity for you. This has been passion. I mean, I can tell your energy. You've got the tattoos for it. I mean, this is something that has really been part of your lifestyle and not just an opportunity. As we've seen so many other celebrities, they go after tequila as it continues to gain in popularity. Santofino, while yes, this does fall under celebrity umbrella, this is as your but this is made super well. I mean, this is very authentic. This is confirmed additive free via Tequila Matchmaker. I mean, that's a huge thing for this project. You mentioned this. You went back to NOM 1107, Tequila El Viejito, which is where Cabo started. Was it just a natural fit? You said, hey, I'm going back to the same place. I've got the relationship. Or what was that like as you were starting to figure out, hey, who are the pieces that I want to have be a part of this?
Boy, every question you ask got 15 answers. I'm going to try to stay focused. Going back to El Viejito was because Juan Eduardo got in trouble with Cabo Wabo in the middle of the whole thing, and he got in trouble with the government with taxes, and they kind of shut him down. And I had to leave there and go to a bigger producer at that time that still did a great job. But I just remembered that Juan Eduardo, when I first used to talk to him about, hey, what can we do to make this better? He looked at me and said, I can't make better tequila. I will only make the best tequila I can possibly make. I can't make better tequila for you than I do for this guy. He goes, he's an artist. He's very uppity like that. He's arrogant. And he doesn't like you to try to push him to do anything different. He goes, you want the best tequila? Use the best agave, the most ripe agave we can get. We cut it the best. We cook it twice. You cook it and let it rest, and then cook it again like a steak. You know how you cook a steak? You gotta let it rest. The juices come back in. And then you cook it again, and it's more caramelized. And he goes, and then you gently press it out, And so he's got all these things, and he said, that's the way you do it, and that's the only way. And so I love that so much. I wanted to go back to him because I know that he did make in my opinion, the best tequila in the world, and he still does.
And this distillery back started with like 1937. I mean, he's third generation. There's a lot of history at this distillery, correct?
Yeah, his father was the first guy I ever dealt with too, and he was just starting to take over when I first made Cabo Wabo back in '88. When I was going around trying to look for, the people to make it. Before I took it to the bigger level, the fact that it's chemical free and they're additive free, that's the way. Who in the hell would put crap in their tequila to begin with? I mean, I only like I'm Eduardo. He's like him and I have the same thing. Wait a minute. What do you mean additive free? It's just tequila. That's where you're supposed to make tequila. You don't want to put additives in it unless it's flawed. If it's flawed, if the agaves are too young and they're green and you use too much of the stem and too much of the roots and the nastiness of the roots, then you have to put sweeteners in there. And if you're not going to age it long enough in proper wood barrels, so you got to put wood chips in there or add coloring. No, we don't do any of that. You know what I mean? That's why our añejo's over 2 years old, because the color wasn't there. Guy and I kept looking and say, wow, this is a year and a half and it still don't have enough color. But we're not going to add no color to it. We're not going to put wood chips in there to get more wood out of it. So we put it in newer barrels, used once barrels, not barrels that have been used 40 times like half these añejos out there. They get dark really quick and they get nasty too. But I just really think that's to call our tequila additive free sounds like a trend. It's real tequila. Okay, to start with, and then the celebrity thing. The reason I don't like to be tagged as a celebrity because I didn't just put my name on it, just like Cabo Wabo. I went down there. The person that doesn't go down there and see how it's really made and taste the tequila when it's pulque and when the distilled one that like 110 proof, tasting it like that and seeing how it's blending it down and looking at the barrels and I don't know, just every single step of the way it's like what musician would go let somebody else write and sing the song and then you come in and put your name on it. And that's how I look at that. I mean, it's like, no, you go write the song, you play the guitar on it if you play guitar, whatever you play, you bring in the right drummer, the drummer you want, and the bass player you want, you say, this is the way the song goes, and you sing the damn song and you put it out and put your name on it. That's what I do with tequila. I get involved. So I do it with my rum, 100% from the ground root. Juan Eduardo has pigs on his property, way down at the other end. And he's the runoff from the top and the bottom, when you do the cut, goes to the pigs. The pulp of the agave goes to the pigs. And they eat agave. They, like cooked agave. They eat it, right? And then you butcher one of them pigs and make I hate to sound cruel, but he does it. I don't. And you make tacos and you drink that tequila with it. That is the most romantic thing you'll ever do in your life. Okay. I mean, I don't care who you are. It's right up there with making love to the right woman, to the right partner. It's a beautiful thing that gives me goosebumps and salivate thinking about when I get to go down there again and experience that kind of a thing. So there you go. I mean, the people that are just putting your name on something, you're missing all that. And brother, I'm sorry, that ain't what I'm about. I don't want to just arrive somewhere. I want to go for the ride. You know what I mean? I'll experience all the things that happen in between. So that's the difference between calling it a celebrity tequila, but whatever.
The passion's there. I mean, we can tell. I mean, since early days Cabo Wabo, I mean, this is your life. This is lifestyle. And sadly, there are so many celebrities that see an opportunity to add to their portfolio, and they do go to a giant distillery. They say, I want vanilla, I want caramel, I want these flavor profiles, and the master distiller says, okay, give me a month, give me a few weeks, and I'll have a Blanco, Repo, and Añejo. And for you, I mean, this just continues to prove the point that when you launched with the Blanco, it took some time for the Repo because it takes time in barrel. The Añejo is going to come out maybe in a month or so, and you didn't just start out with it. This is you going, hey, this takes time, 2 years plus in the barrel for that Añejo. There's a labor of love here that a lot of these other celebrities, they don't fully understand. And so it is huge respect. And people ask me all the time because they do talk about celebrity tequilas. And I always say Santo Fino, old school Cabo Wabo. I mean, these are bottles that you want to be collecting and sipping on because it is made really well. We've got agave, water, and yeast. I've got your Blanco and Repo in front of me. Let's talk through the process. You've mentioned a little bit of how Juan Eduardo is making this, but tell me the process for this Blanco: brick oven, roller mill, and then I'm going to taste it, and then we'll get to the Reposado.
Well, the Blanco to me is where it all starts. Like I said, if you don't have a good Blanco, then I'm not going to trust your Añejo or your Reposado. I always just say, somebody says, I want you to taste my tequila. I say, go, let me taste your Blanco, because that's where I'm going to give you a yay or a nay. Nowadays, a lot of people probably do make a different Reposado. It probably isn't even the same Blanco that goes into the barrel. But that Blanco right there, when we first got with Juan, and we were tasting, he had an A, B, and a C. And I thought, what's the difference? He goes, just aeration and just a few little things. I mean, he's one of those artists that don't like to tell you everything. He's like, hey, you're trying to take my job here. Go tell somebody else. But truthfully, the first time I tasted it, the only negative I had was it was hot. It felt like it was higher alcohol. And he said, no, it's not, but time, it's just because it's brand new. It's just made, and he goes, alcohol escapes a little bit. And he did a second aeration, which is where I guess he just pumped air into the big tanks and have them bubble around for a while. And it's really just kind of releases kind of like the nastiness, and it just kind of smooths it out of mellow, because that happens more and more as it stays in the barrel. But that Blanco right there, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, so it's hard for me to talk about it, but it smells fresh. It smells clean. I don't smell any nothing else in it. It just smells like agave. It just smells like Mexico. It smells like the fields. It smells like you ever smell a raw agave when you cut it up, when they first cut up the piñas, the way it smells in those rooms? I smell that in there. I smell, a little bit of a caramelization. So you almost get a little bit of vanilla in there without the wood, almost get a little bit of coconut in there without the wood, a little bit of peach, maybe a little bit of kind of citrusy, but I like the almost tropical citrus in there. But it's so subtle. When you say these things, people go, well, I don't smell that. Well, no, it's not jumping in your face. It ain't like opening up a pineapple, man. It's like, but it's in there. And all that's just from the earth. It's just from the agave. But I think that twice cooking it, letting it cook, rest, and cook again, brings a little more caramelization and takes a little bit, it makes it almost a little creme brulee-ish over another one that doesn't do that.
So we're going Highland agaves. I mean, there's a sweetness here going in the Ornos, the brick ovens, and then deep well water. Is that what you're adding to this?
Yeah, well, the water comes right off the property. And let me tell you another thing: the yeast and the fermentation comes from not from bees; it comes from bats. Juan Eduardo's he likes the bats.
They play a huge role. Yeah,
I think it's so cool. And he in the fields, he likes to have, even when we have to buy outside agave, the growers, he has them let one of the agaves, he lets them bolt, to where you get that beautiful little spike, that little tree with all the beautiful flowers.
Yeah,
he likes to keep that going in all the fields, so that the bats can pollinate, and that's why he kind of has what he calls his personal little stamp on the flavor of the agave. It stays within the family. It's almost like I attribute it to like a sourdough starter. Like you have a starter and you keep using the same one, and it just carries on that same little uniqueness. It's a very subtle thing, but he's that into it, Juan Eduardo. And when a guy's like that, you feel like, sure, you try to give him, say, hey, what if sure, we can try that, but he just seems to be pretty set in his way, and I like it. I like his way.
Yeah, this Blanco, super clean. I mean, this is very agave forward. Yeah, sweetness, there's a little bit of bite there, but that's what I want. This is tequila. This is tequila. Very clean. You can tell nothing going on here with additives. This is very clean. This is your regular Blanco. You do have a higher proof still strength, correct?
Let's call that Guy Fieri's. Guy Fieri has a higher proof. It's like, man, it's like chewing on a Some agave. It's been soaked in 110, you know. Guys telling me, I love that shit. Are you kidding me? I say, well, yeah, you get your buzz on real quick.
Was it just something that Juan Eduardo, because I know I've been to Mexico many times and to many different distilleries, and as it comes through off that second round of distillation, it is coming off 110 or even higher. Was it
Yeah.
something that he presented to you guys and said, hey, why don't you try this, and immediately Guy just fell in love with it?
No, yeah, guy wanted to try it. He thought because guys he's got what 75, 80 restaurants and bars, so he's seeing a trend with people wanting to drink higher proof, especially whiskeys and bourbons and scotch and stuff. There's a real trend in high proof, and so he said, let's try and make a high proof tequila. And I said, sure, you know. We're open minded to trying. I love trying stuff. We've got other stuff that we've got down there that we're trying to do and look at. And I think next thing I want to do with it, I want to put it in barrels, see what happens. Maybe it's okay. But if you go to Mexico and you go around Tequila and Jalisco and you taste a lot of home, you go to little distilleries, the little boutique guys, a lot of them are 35 and 37 and 40. It's like they're lower, a little bit lower alcohol for some reason. And I like it. I did it with my rum, with my beach bar rum. My redhead is 35%, because it makes a nicer drink. It's easier to drink. You don't even know it's there, kind of, but then all of a sudden you get your little buzz. Yeah, I'm big on being able to drink more and make my night last longer. I really am. I'm a professional here. I own the Cabo Wabo. I go down there and play go down there 8 o'clock at night, start drinking and eating and partying, eating tacos and going on stage at midnight and 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I still want to be going and I want to go home and be able to go to sleep. And I go, whoa, I got the spins. And I'm a true believer. And really, I like to stretch my nights out.
Yeah, that 110. I'm sure that 110 it will hit you pretty fast if you're not careful with it. Yeah, this Blanco, like I said, super clean, and as air gets into it, you mentioned this, it gets a little creamy. I mean, it definitely very silky as you continue to just sip on it. It continues to give with flavors.
You just gave me the goosebumps. See, that's what I wanted. I want from everyone. I want them to get to that point where it tastes the creaminess. It's actually creamy. It's like creme brulee. But so subtle, but so it's hard to say, but oh man, I got my furs up because of that, because you got that.
So that was the Blanco. You've got the Mezquila, the Blanco, the high proof, and then you do have a Reposado that you did launch, as I mentioned before. You launched that afterwards. This is your Blanco going into barrels. How long roughly are you aging it, and what was the process with the Reposado?
The Russell with the Reposado was really a complex thing, Doug. We don't tell everybody this, but we had Juan Eduardo has a bunch of old barrels that he's been using for friends and his probably 5 or 6 times use, and they how they score the inside they burn them to get rid of the mold and stuff. So he just put our Blanco in Reposado barrels, not a lot of them, because we're going to have a little experiment and see how long we wanted it to go, and we tasted. I kept tasting. I kept saying, Guy, and here's a good thing about having Guy Fieri again, a guy that people respect his palate. I'm saying, Guy, I'm tasting the mold in this. These barrels are not good. I don't think I think we're wasting our time going any farther at about 2 or 3 months. And he said, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I said, you can smell it. I can smell mustiness. I don't want my tequilas. Yeah. And we went and bought new barrels, went and bought 110 new barrels and started over. And that's why it took so long to get the Reposado out, and that's why it took so long to get the Añejo out too, because now we left some in there. But the point is, for the Añejo, we started smelling it and tasting it right away. So we kept tasting it, had no color, so we let it go 4 to 6 months. And it's clean once again.
Yeah, I mean the color for 4 to 6 months. I mean, this is I'm assuming ex bourbon or American white oak barrels, new, and so those barrels but this is very light in color. This is very light. It's still very agave forward. I mean, everything. The Añejo is not out. You've got some in front of you, but I know once I get a chance to try that, I'm expecting it to still be very agave forward because you are respecting the agave. But for this, I mean, I get some cinnamon off of it, some baking spices, but that agave is still very much there, and it is very light in color compared to many other reposados I've seen out there in the market.
Yeah, and it's got a little bit less of a whiskey thing going on, bourbon thing, because the barrel's only been used once. If you keep putting tequila in that thing, and about the fourth or fifth time, and keep burning it and all that, it starts getting. To me, it just starts getting funky, and it loses. It covers up the agave, the cleanest. I don't know. Maybe I'm because I've been doing it so long. I'm really resorting back towards a blanco, and I don't like too aged products that are too aged. Even though our añejo's over 2 years, but it doesn't taste old and funky. See, I don't like the old funky thing. I like a clean. I'm really starting to like clean. I like clean. I like clean. With my architecture, I used to want to have a house. Oh man, we'll paint it, black and with purple trim and all this stuff, like because psychedelic, but now it's like just white, maybe a little beige around it. I'm starting to get everything cleaning up, and even with my music, I don't like to overproduce anymore. I don't, I used to put 5 guitar tracks. No, like just 1 guitar track, man. You play the right part, you don't need to put 5 tracks on there, So it's kind of where I'm going in my life. But that reposado, man, is same as that blanco. It's clean as a whistle. You get no artificial smells, no funky, woody. It's clean as just. Some people might think it's too clean. Maybe it don't have a whole lot of taste. It's elegant. That's like a word I like to use about it. It's elegant.
Yeah, it's subtle. It's very subtle. The barrel that the flavors that are coming from that barrel is very subtle. And again, we don't want this to be whiskey. We want this to be tequila. And so you don't want that barrel to cover up and mask any of that agave. And you guys have balanced that really well here with this reposado. We've talked about this in Yeho. You've had it, or is this the first time you're
No,
having
I've
it?
had it, but this right before it goes into bottles. This is the last time I'm tasting it. But we tasted it and said, yeah, take it out, and we put it in stainless steel. Because same thing. I don't want it to go too far. We were just looking for a little more color, and I was just came to me, and I don't like to drink this time of day, but I guess I pretty much got to do this because I want to. I told them, oh man, see. Oh, so clean. I mean, if I had another añejo, I just don't know what else would be that clean. That
You said 2 years. This is something that you
over
guys
two
have
years.
over two
We kept
years.
tasting it. We every month we'd say, well, no. You know what happened is I could smell the barrel at about a year and 2 months, at about 14 months. I'm saying, I'm smelling the barrel. In other words, to me, it didn't come together. Just like the mezquila, when I was tasting before, I'm tasting too much mezcal. I'm tasting too much tequila. It never came together until we did Juan Eduardo did his thing, and it was like, oh, now I taste. I don't taste tequila. I don't taste mezcal. I taste mezquila. Right now, I smell aged tequila. I don't smell the barrel, and that's oh god. Whew, here they come. Look at the furs up. Oh my god, man! When you get a fur comes up off a nose, and it's so oh god, it's orange and it's like it smells like somebody already put some things in there, but they didn't. Oh
Is
wow!
this what are we expecting in the next month to 2 months? Will we start to see
I
this?
hope so, but I would imagine to get it into the marketplace, it's probably going to be a couple months.
What do we get on the taste? I don't have any in front of me, so you gotta describe it to me. How's this in Yeho?
Long, boy, it's staying right there. After you swallow it, it didn't go anywhere. I'm not even sure I swallowed it. It tastes like it's still right there in my mouth. So nice and thick. And of course, it's just tequila, just agave tequila, and that's been in a barrel.
Did you, by any chance, leave any in the barrel for potentially one day an extra añejo? Or are you thinking, hey, right now the añejo, this
No,
is
we're running short on product. So, but left it in there long as we thought we had to. Wow, I can't explain it, but it tastes like it smells, and that's unique in itself too. You know how many times you smelled a wine smells delicious and you taste it and whoa, it doesn't taste like that, or vice versa. That's one of my big no-nos that I don't like is when things don't taste like they smell. Just tastes exactly like it smells. It's thick. Honestly, I think more orangey than lime. Like how blancos smell and taste limey to me, and a little salt and lime. Not, yeah, it really smells like a It's orange, and kind of tropical fruits. I don't know where the tropical thing comes from with Juan Eduardo's tequilas, but they get a little tropical.
I'm sure that añejo just continues to deepen those flavors as it comes through with that repo. That añejo probably just continues to deepen.
I can't tell you how elegant. I mean, I'm getting stopped on this. I'm like, whoa, whoa. It's so friggin' elegant that it's. I mean, it's got to be the finest refined tequila on the planet. That is so elegant. I mean, wow. Who would want to put anything in that? I wouldn't do anything to that. I wouldn't even. Yeah, I wouldn't even. Yeah, I would never make a margarita out of
No, just to sip on that. Has Guy had that as well? Or as you guys
that. Oh
are
yeah,
getting this out, this final
yeah.
version?
And when we get off this thing, I'm supposed to make a little video and with him and tell him you know how I'm feeling about it, and I already cheated though. I already no, no. But see, I'll have more information for him. That's so much for me. I mean, honestly, I can't even tell you about it. Just caramel, but that wonderful agave. It just tastes ripe. It just it does. There's no green in there, but it's clean.
And it's a different presentation. I saw a picture of the bottle on social media, and it's elegant. I mean, it's a beautiful bottle. It's still in the same vein as the Santo bottle, but it is very elegant for you guys to really release this as something very special.
Yeah, you nailed it. When Guy and I first tasted it about a year ago, we said this is going to be so elegant. But like I said, I was still tasting the separation from the barrel. It hadn't blended yet, and we said we need to make a really special bottle for this. And we looked at taking our old bottle and making it gold, just like gold leaf it. And I said, yeah, that old bottle, that's very kind of primitive. It's kind of nice little earthiness and kind of a lo-fi thing about it. I said this is not lo-fi, this is hi-fi.
So a little elevated bottle there. Well, I'm excited to see it. And it just, again, as I said before, it continues to speak to your authenticity, your passion, because you could have started. I mean, you could have started with a Blanco, Repo, and Añejo day one. I mean, there are distilleries that have tequila just sitting in barrels, and
Well,
you say,
that's
"Hey,
what
this is what I
everybody
want."
does. That's the secret, Doug.
Yeah, that's where a lot of these distilleries and a lot of these brands that are making a ton of different brands coming out of them. And you guys said, no, that's not what we're doing. And that's not what you did back in the day with Cabo Wabo. I mean, this
No, no.
is,
Cabo Wabo came out with a reposado first. We actually came out with a reposado first for about 3 or 4 years before we even considered. Oh, let's make a blanco. Oh, let's make it a Then we made the Cabo Uno. We only made 7,000 bottles, but that Cabo Uno was 4.5 years old, 48 months old. But I'm telling you, this the people that come out with all three SKUs at the same time, well, that pretty much tells you that it is a celebrity brand.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
it's just an opportunity.
yeah, but it's all right. Yeah, I don't blame them. Let me say this much: it's so much fun if you really get into it, but it's also lucrative if that's what you're looking for. But um, you know, for me, I just want to have the best tequila in the world. I don't want to have the biggest tequila in the world. I would not want to have. I don't want to make 2 million cases. I don't think we can. You could. I don't think you can make 2 million cases of that. Three or 400,000 cases is about all you can make on this level.
And this has great distribution. I see Santo, I want to make sure people, as they're listening to this, as they're going out, they want to pick up a bottle. You've got really great distribution all over the U.S.
Southern Glacier Wine and Spirits is who we're with everywhere nationally, and they have a huge distribution system. Our problem is that we're a lot of places considering how small we are because we are definitely a boutique brand. I mean, we're still hand making it. Like I said, we didn't blast out with three SKUs, bam, throw them into the marketplace and stick them on the shelf. We came out one at a time intentionally. I mean, I would have loved to have said, we've got the time to just wait for the añejo, so we'll just sit on this wonderful blanco for 4 years, 3 years. No, with just one step at a time. So our distribution is, it's limited to what we can produce, and there's no question about that. And the agave shortage, we could produce a lot more if we use smaller agaves and green agaves and cheaper agaves and just rotten agaves, ones that are thrown out by the good makers, the ones we throw out. Yeah, we can go buy them back, but no, I think it has to be done right, and there's no reason to do it any other way. If somebody says, are you, how much money do you need? I say, I don't need any money. Let's get that straight. Let me testify. I don't need money. I'm all good, right? I need to have the best products in the world. When I go out, I want people to say, what do you think about Sammy Hagar? wow, man, he made some good shit, man. His music, his restaurants, everything was good.
Yeah, you're the real deal. Santospirit.com. People can go to the website. They can learn more about the brand. They can purchase it. I saw on the website they can purchase this. And then, you are very active. People can catch up with what you've got going on with redrocker.com for everything. You got a lot of videos up there. But Sammy, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for staying true to this. And as I said before, for really laying the foundation for so many to come after you to put forward such a great, authentic tequila. But man, what an honor to have you on the show. Can't wait to find the añejo as you just described how delicious it is. We'll be searching for that. But my friend, thank you so much for being on the show.
I just want to say thank you for appreciating what I do.
Yeah,
That means a lot to me.
absolutely.
You gave me goosebumps twice. That's all you need to know.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Sammy, cheers and salute, my friend. Congrats on Santofino to you and Guy. And like I said, can't wait to find a bottle of that añejo. Salute, my friend.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, cheers. Here we go.
And since I've got you, I've got this bottle here. This is
Whoa.
2007 here. I've been saving this. It's not a lighthouse, but it's just a special.
That's a third. That was the third generation, but it's still the same tequila.
Yeah, and so I've not opened it. I've been waiting for a special moment to open this, and I figured I don't know if I'm ever going to have another chance to spend some time with Sammy Hagar. So if you've got another minute or so, I would like to open this and pour myself a little bit. And cheers, you've got your Santo, I've got, and this is the añejo.
Yeah.
Again, very light in color here. But if you would indulge me in that, it takes me a lot to open bottles because once I
Okay,
open them, they
you're
go.
going to taste it, and you're going to give me I want your review.
Oh, I already know. I already know. I already know. I already know what this is going to taste like.
Yeah.
It's glorious. Oh no.
Well, of course, no. That thing's got to be. That thing's. It's like what is it? 20 years old?
I was too excited. Okay.
Even a Chateau Margaux cork at 20 years old gets a little funky.
It played out differently in my mind. I'm going to have to at some point get a
You don't have a
corkscrew.
corkscrew?
I do, but not right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have had this. This is I got this bottle. Someone else, a buddy of mine, he went to a store. He found 3 bottles of it. One of the bottles, unopened, was down to like it had evaporated, and so he got a special deal on that one. And he said, "Hey, I've got a bottle of Cabo. If you want it." I said, "Absolutely, I want it." And then he opened the other one and he gave me a sample of it, and it is just everything with your añejo. It is rich. It is velvety. There's some deep flavor there, and a real treat to I've posted pics of this on social media, and people have gone,
Oh,
"Oh, where'd you find that? How can I find one of those bottles?"
I would love to try that. The thing about it is that the only thing I would say about that was everything. Those were big, fat, ripe agaves that they used because these were the farmers that grew the shit, and they kept the best ones for them and me. I was their only client back then. This is not Juan Eduardo. This is the Rivera family, but they would go harvest the biggest, fattest agaves. Oh, look at this! Like this, 8 years old, man. So that's kind of stuff with that. But the problem is the barrels were, used up. So there could have a little funk in there, but the actual tequila would be so rich and creamy and sweet. Oh, I would love to taste that. No, I'll make sure, Doug, that you guys get a bottle of that añejo before it hits the market. As soon as we get it into the warehouse, everybody that's involved with this thing, we'll get you covered. That's too bad. I really wanted to film you doing that, man. That would have been good for the archives. All right, peace and love, you guys.
Hey, buddy, thank you,
Thank you.
Sammy.